Council, October 10th, 2022.
Excellent. Okay, I will call the meeting to order. It is Monday, October 10th, 2022, 7 p.m., and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, for roll call, we have everybody here this evening. Thank you for your time. I know you're all very busy. The agenda is before us. How does the agenda look for this evening? Not a big one.
I have a couple items I'd like to add, probably to new business.
Okay.
One is a letter from the state auditor regarding TIF district disbursements.
Okay.
And then the other one is a reporting on ARP funds received from the U.S. Department of Treasury.
ERP funds?
Yes.
ARPA. Okay, sounds good. So those items are added under new business. Anything else? Then with that, do I have a motion to approve our amended agenda? By Ross. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Larry. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And we have our consent agenda this evening. Anything that we need to remove for discussion?
Just a couple notes I wanted to make. The snow plow parts purchase, the invoice is dated 9/15, is that correct? I think, I'm just wondering, has that been paid?
Mary, do you know if that's been paid? I don't believe that's been paid
No, it
yet.
has, no, I don't
Okay.
think so.
That has not been paid yet.
Oh,
It has not until
Right.
tonight.
not that I'm aware of.
And the only other note I have is, in my packet, I don't have any minutes.
They are not
Correct.
complete.
We're not done.
Staff reports, I don't have any of those. No commission, board, or committee minutes. No correspondence, but that's not out of the ordinary. And then I have no claims and payroll in my packet either, so
Pretty slim consent agenda, isn't it?
very slim.
Excellent. Okay, any other comments? Everybody okay with that? Then for the record, our consent agenda is the approval of the snow plow parts purchase, the approval of minutes, which we don't have any, staff reports, which we don't have any, commission and board reports, none yet, no correspondence, no approval of claims and payroll, but with that, do I have a motion to approve our consent agenda?
So moved.
By Larry, do I have a second?
Second.
By Troy, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I'm into public forum, and we have one of them. It's Sandra Burke. Sandra, you can join us. Go ahead. You got 3 minutes. You can chat. You can talk from there. You can join us here, wherever you are comfortable. And welcome. It's a Saturday cleanup is what you're going to
Right.
address.
I just want to thank the 20 people who came and helped us clean up the community center, the outside. We were a little disappointed because we could only do the first floor. We had asked if the fire department could help us do the upper part, but you know, it's a beautiful fall day. Nobody was available. I understand that. But we got done amazing. These are the people that helped us. Kevin and Carol Schumann worked the whole time. Joe Stein brought his brusher and brushed all the way around the driveway to just clean it up in the parking area. He hauled 4 loads of his big dump trailer to the compost heap. People were working and hauling, and then he'd haul it away. Don Lawrence was our foreman, made sure that everybody was in place and we kept going and everything got done. John and Diane Nelson worked the whole time. Tana Havamaki and Becky Canaday were in charge of the food, but when they got all the food prepped, they wiped down the inside of the windows and wiped down all the walls, so they got nice and dusted, really. Lee Samuelson there was with his ladders and tacked up some of the lights. We couldn't get them all because we just couldn't get them all, but Molly Irish and her son Dylan were there, worked very well. Adam Rosenthal was there and worked, he dusted the whole outside. It was fantastic. Randy and Sandra Brinsfeld, I'm not sure I pronounced that right, but they were there and helped the whole time. Jerry and Troy Annenson were both there until they had to leave for a wedding. Brian and I were there, and our son came up from Hudson and power washed the whole thing. And we power washed it the way the Historical Society told us to. We didn't have acid, we didn't even have soap, we didn't have a strong, we just basically took off the dirt, the easy dirt, all the cobwebs. I mean, it was amazing. And then we had so many people there that we actually finished about 11:30, and we had a wonderful lunch. We had chili, and we had corn chowder and all the fixins. We had coffee and donuts for people the whole morning, and we had a lot of fun. We really did. And I think probably next year we will ask if we can have a committee for that facility. It really, with a little bit of there's a lot of fixing up that needs to be done, but with a little bit of fixing up, I think we could advertise it as an event venue. Event venues are a big thing around here. Ours isn't huge, but there are a lot of smaller events, and I think we could do something with it and keep it beautiful and historic.
Very
That's
good.
it.
Thank you, Sandra, and we appreciate all the volunteers and their efforts. That's a wonderful thing to have volunteers. So, okay, council, we're gonna move on. There's no more public forum. Old business, there is not any. I'm gonna hit the new business. I'm gonna stay right on task here. The first item says revised personnel policy to allow 80 hours of PTO carryover. This comes from the personnel liaisons, so that would be Ross and Larry. And I'm not too sure which of the two of you want to speak to this. It's all yours.
I can, the issue we've had in the past is 40 hours is only a week, obviously. But especially the maintenance guys in the wintertime when they're plowing snow, they literally can't take off enough time for what they accrue, because it accrues every month or pay period. So anyway, it just, I think it's better for our employees if we go from 40 hours carryover to 80. It helps them out, evens it out a little bit. So the example is if they're plowing all summer, or all winter, excuse me, maybe they can take off time in the spring when it slows down a little bit. But you know, if you can't carry over, you know, at least 80, what do? You lose it. So then they try to take off when it's snowing out, and you can't have just one guy plowing, it just doesn't work. So I mean, that's an example, not that the office doesn't have the same issues, but it just, to me, it's a good benefit for the employees to be able to carry over, you know, another 40 hours, and it doesn't hurt the city at all. Cost is the same, so.
Okay, thank you, Ross. Larry, you want to add to that?
I just agree with what Ross says. You know, it's 40 hours is only 1 week, and you know, the extra hours would be a benefit because, as Ross said, you know, there's snow plowing and they just can't take the time off. So I think it's a good thing to do.
Okay, thank you, Larry. And I agree with that. Not only do they have snow plowing in the wintertime, but when they hit springtime, when you think they have plenty of time, they're discharging the ponds, which take 10 days. In the fall, they're discharging the ponds, which takes 10 days. So they put in a lot of hours. I know it's hard for them to take time off. So I certainly don't have a problem supporting this, but let's go to Troy. Comments on this?
No comments.
Okay.
No, that's great.
Mary?
I think most of their time accruing the overtime or the PTO is based in the fall and winter anyway, and so they don't have that gap to take it before the end of the year. So I totally agree.
Okay, sounds good. So we have a resolution. It is 22-10-01, and does the verbiage look good to everybody? Okay, verbiage looks good, I'm seeing heads nod yes, so I'm gonna call for a motion to approve resolution 22-1001. This is a personnel policy change to accrue PTO per pay period and to allow employees to carry over 80 hours of PTO time. So do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
By Mary, do I have a second?
Second.
By Ross, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Was that Ross or Larry?
Larry.
Larry.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm on to the next item. This is payout of unused PTO. It says to Paul Stanger and Mike Chris. This is also personnel liaisons. So, once again, Ross, Larry, you wanna speak to this?
I'll speak to this.
Okay.
And, there is another resolution, and I'm gonna stick closely to the verbiage in the resolution because it really does give us a clear picture of why and what happens here. So, Paul Stenger has been an employee of the City of Taylor's Falls since October of 2018 to the present. And Paul is entitled to PTO hours. The city clerk is responsible for timesheets and recording PTO hours for Paul Stenger. According to the review of Paul Stenger's employee records, there has been a clerical error in the calculation of the accrued PTO for Paul. No PTO hours showed up on the records kept by the Banyan system, which is the responsibility of the clerk treasurer to input those hours and to accrue them as they are accrued. The city has recalculated the amount of the PTO hours owed to Paul according to the city records of PTO, and the records are included in the council packet. According to the review, Paul accrued PT hours to be paid out should be in the amount of hours accrued 420 hours. This goes back to 2018 for a total amount of $11,865. And so by resolution we need to approve the city clerk to issue a check to Paul in the amount of $11,865 subject to the standard payroll deductions.
Okay, thanks Larry. Ross, anything to add to that?
No, you pretty much got everything covered. It was just it should have been corrected years ago, but it wasn't.
Okay.
So we have to bring it up to date now.
Okay, and is Paul actually asking for the payout?
Yeah, because it's so many hours. I mean, he would never be here if he's trying to use it up.
Yeah, I understand, and I know it's a burden when one public works employee is gone, the burden shifts to the other one to try to do everything, so
Yep.
I get that, okay. If indeed we decide to do this tonight, this would have to be, should be paid for from our administrative funds, which there probably aren't any, but we would have to acknowledge we're gonna go over budget, and this would have to balance out at the end of the year, and that would be something Mary would have to do for us, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Mary, you have comments on this? Mary Murphy?
No,
Councilmember?
I'm startled that it didn't get done correctly. And quite frankly, this puts us in a bind for funding, appropriately. But I agree it needs to be paid out.
So, does this mistake go all the way back to 2018?
Yes, it does.
So, Mary Tomnich, you just said yes, it does.
I did.
You spent a lot of time going through all of this, trying to figure out, and you are confident that this is accurate?
Yes, I went through timesheets, I went through the Banyan system, and I went through what it should have been per our personnel policy.
Okay, wow. Comments, Troy?
Yeah.
Okay.
When was it found? When did we find this error?
My understanding is they've been asking long before I was even here, and then once I started, they brought it up.
And-
So then I started looking at all of it.
And who's they? Is it the auditors?
Nope, employees.
The employees started asking, okay.
Mhm.
So you're the one who gets recognized for finding this error in Banyan, right? It was accruing,
I guess, I mean,
Okay.
they thought it was incorrect, so they just directed me to go look.
and the employees would be the Public Works.
So zoning, public works, anybody,
It would be all four.
Okay.
So she's had to check all four sets of records, have you not?
yes.
Okay.
Have you checked the records for the previous clerk treasurer?
Yes, that was part of me having to go look.
And were they incorrect?
Yes, they were.
Okay.
And were they corrected?
Yes, they were.
Okay, so then she'll be reimbursed for the corrected amount,
All
I'm
done.
guessing.
Okay, comments on this?
No, the only other thing I have is I just wanna make a point that, that Paul will be receiving a check that's in the amount of $11,865 at the end of this year, is that correct? Do we know if Paul's coming back next year, is he gonna continue to help us there in the city?
Paul, as far as I know, yes.
Great.
I have not heard anything.
Good.
Okay, any other comments? If not, take a look at that resolution. Does it look good to everybody? I will call for a motion then to approve resolution 221002. This is correcting the PTO hours of our employee Paul Stenger and the payment of PTO hours accrued, which are 420 hours, and that dollar amount will be $11,865. So motion to approve
So moved.
by Mary, second by Larry. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And within the same payout, we're now looking at another resolution. This is for Mike Kriz, and this is for payment of PTO hours accrued. And I know that I've been told by Mike that his PTO hours since about April of this year, that he knew they were incorrect because he was keeping track on a daily basis almost. And so he had mentioned it to myself, and so I had also shared this with Mary. Another reason why Mary was looking into all PTO hours for everybody to make sure there was no mistakes. So, Ross and Larry, this is yours again. Which one of you wants to? He's looking at you.
Okay, like I say, it's exactly what we went over with Paul. The only difference with Mike is it's less because for his, it's just, since December of this past year, December 18th. And the amount of hours he accumulated was 110 hours, so the value of that is $3,258.70. So that would be the amount he would be paid out, and that would get him corrected up to today.
Actually, Ross, excuse me, I think that's incorrect, there's a problem with the resolution.
Yep.
Needed some editing, I think, the value is actually 3,582.
Right.
Right.
Line 2 is incorrect.
Line two is just a typo, must be a typo.
Okay,
Thank you.
Because those numbers are just reversed.
okay.
Okay, thank you, Troy. Larry, anything to add to that?
No.
Okay, Mary Murphy, council member,
Nothing.
comments on this? Not a thing? Myself either. I've got a question for Mary, though.
Sure.
Mary Murphy, our clerk treasurer. Now, I'm sorry, Mary, whichever one you are. When you have to change your
Whoever will
name.
answer.
I'm getting older, come on. So for Mike Kriz,
Yes.
and look, was this discovered in Banyan as well, that there was information missing from Banyan on the PTO hours? It was incorrect?
Yes, there was no PTO hours accumulating in the banning system since
Okay.
we restarted in December.
Okay. That's all I need to know. So we're looking at 110 hours and we're looking at $3,582. How does the resolution look to everybody?
I've got one more.
Go ahead,
comment
Troy.
if I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Mike Chris's accrual was correct before he retired, correct? So he was paid correctly for that.
I did not check into
No.
that. I
Okay.
don't know that.
The other thing on the resolution, on the fourth line actually, whereas according to the review of Mike Chris employee records, there has been an error by in the calculation, so it looks a little accusatory there. I don't know if we wanna correct that as well.
In other words, there has been an error in the, so you wanna drop by the?
By is kinda, yeah, I would think so. By is.
Okay, so let's change that, so it says there has been an error in the calculation of accrued PTO hours. We'll make sure number 2 corrects that dollar amount.
And the only other comment I have is last year before Mike retired, he received $19,134.88. And this will be an additional $3,582.70.
It is.
And does anybody know, is Mike gonna join us next year? Is he gonna stick around and help us out?
I believe so.
Great.
Yeah. Yep, okay, so everybody has commented on this. I'm gonna call for a motion to approve resolution 221003. This is a resolution correcting the PTO hours of Mike Kriz and the payment of PTO hours accrued, which is 110 hours. The dollar amount will be $3,582.70. That also is paid for from our administration fund, acknowledging that we are going to go over budget on this. So motion to approve.
So moved.
By Mary, I have a second.
Second.
By Ross, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we're on to the next item, and it's kind of a short looking at changing the meeting for the last meeting in December. We approved Monday the 26th, that is an observed holiday, so we need to change that to Tuesday the 27th of December, same time, same place. Everybody comfortable with that?
I have one question on that as well.
Go ahead.
Our purchase agreement close date was December 26th, so has anybody been in consultation with the purchaser, Amy Dills, about how that's gonna change? Because we were gonna have a meeting for that, when she was gonna close.
Well, she'll
I
have
have
until
not.
the 26th. We'll probably have to have Mary send her an email and let her know that that meeting will be on the 27th. It still leaves her at the 26th for closing,
Right.
unless we change it exactly. So, okay, so I have no other comments on that. I'm gonna call for a motion to change our second meeting in December to Tuesday, December 27th, 2022 at 7 p.m. at City Hall. So motion to approve.
So moved.
By Mary, do I have a second?
Second.
By Troy, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. This is the liquor license request. It's for the new owners of the Goat Saloon. I see they've got a sign down there that's advertising there are new owners. I wish them the best of luck. I hope they make $1 million. Now, Mary, why don't I let you explain this to the council, because you're the one who has worked on this. I do understand that they're looking for a reduction of that liquor license, so if you would.
Yes, so they came in, that they can't just take over the liquor license from the previous owners, so they have to apply for a new one. And they asked if we would reduce the cost of the liquor license. As far as I know, Taylor's Falls has never had this come before them where they have reduced. I know in other cities, some of them have said no, some of them have reduced it by 50%. So completely up to whatever this council wants to do. By the time the liquor license this late in the year would get approved, they may have 1 year or 1 month of sales down there before the new liquor license need to be approved for the new year of 2023.
Okay, so Mary, my question to you, is the owner in agreement with this amount?
Yes, he is. I did ask, he asked me first and then I said, well, this is probably the best we could do. I don't know, it has to go before council. And he was fine with that. Otherwise, he would still be paying the liquor license.
Okay, comments on this?
I was in
Go
there
ahead.
the other night there, I'm happy to have them here, I think we all should be, anybody who's gonna invest and, have a business here, bring people into town, the food was great. I believe they're the current owners of the pizza pubs, is that correct?
That is correct,
Okay,
yes.
okay. And they didn't mention anything about turning it into a pizza pub at this point?
I asked.
Oh, good, because I was, what did they say?
At this time, no, they may bring pizzas in. Pizza ovens are a completely different group of things, so
I'm hoping they'll still
maybe
have
after the
workers.
first of the year, they
No,
may think
no.
about it,
There's
so.
not a whole lot of room there
Yeah.
either.
I'm big on pizza, actually.
I am too.
No, I think
But I did ask.
yeah, I would be in favor of, giving them you said half a year, I think, is what you
Yes.
said?
Yeah,
I think
50%.
that's only fair and accommodating, so.
Thank you, Troy. Other comments?
I agree.
Yeah, cause the people before paid for the whole year, so it's a half
We're doing
again.
just fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
so yeah, that's fine.
I agree,
Okay.
totally.
All right, works for me, so I'm gonna call for a motion to approve the request. It is by city staff to reduce the cost of the liquor license for the new owners of the Goat Saloon. It will be for the remainder of 2022, and that reduction is 50%, and we wish them well in their new business. So motion to approve
So moved.
by Larry, do I have a second?
Second.
By Troy, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And we're on to the next item that's been added. This is the letter from the auditor. Go ahead, Troy.
All right, thank you. So I have a letter from the state auditor, it was sent to the county, stating that the TIF report had not been filed with the office of the state auditor by October 1st, which is the deadline.
Yep.
And I made some calls, checked some things out. It looks like we could lose anywhere from $20,000 to $29,000 if we don't do this. So I'm just kind of wondering, I know one of the things we had an issue with the prior clerk treasurer was performance issues. That's what from her performance evaluation. That's what some of the council members up here mentioned. And I was just wondering how this got missed, and if we can still get this money, what we need to do to get this money in time.
Go ahead, Mary.
Yep, I have been working with Ellers, Jeannie Voigt, with this. And I'm in the process of finishing up the paperwork, and it looks like it should be able to go and that we should not be losing any money. So, it was brought to my attention and we were trying to get things going, so it's
So
in
are
the
we
works.
looking at submitting that this week?
Yes.
We're looking? Okay.
Mhm.
This week? Oh, that would be
Yes.
great.
Yep.
That would be great.
Okay. Anything else, Troy, on that?
Not on that at this time, just wanna, make sure we get that money.
Oh,
We don't
yeah.
wanna lose it.
Mhm.
Yep, I got a
Sure.
copy of the letter as well, and the first thing that I did was called Mary and said, what's going on with this? We gotta get a hold of Ellers since they're the ones who do the filing for us, so. Okay, we're on to the next item. This is number 6. This is this ARPA funds that you're talking about?
Well, yeah, it's ARP and the American Rescue Plan
Okay.
Act of 2021, right?
Yep.
Thank you, Mayor, for that, and for putting this on the agenda. I just had
Sure.
some questions about, this goes back to statute, or resolution 21-1202. The city of Taylor's Falls may receive up to $109,407.54, from the American Rescue Plan. In 2021, we had received $56,498.92, and in the summer of 2022, we were supposed to receive the additional $56,000. When I go through this, I guess I had some concerns and I wanted to bring them up.
Mhm.
And I thought this would be a good time to do that. This originally, this was brought to this office's attention, to the clerk treasurer, in March of 2022. From what I understand, the auditors brought it to their attention. The reason being, she wasn't aware of this at the time. Nobody had let her know anything about this. And I did some research and I found out why this became an issue, and that was because they had the incorrect email. So the state had the incorrect email on who to communicate this with, and start the whole process in motion. We did receive the funds, so the issue right now, I guess, is that there has been, when it didn't go through, they had to do the correction. The person who filled out this report put the wrong email in, and they put it in incorrectly. So that's why there was a delay. We're talking about $109,000, right? So the reporting to the state for this $109,000 and where we spent it, this goes to the Federal Treasury Department, so this is the U.S. Treasury who receives this money, and we have to report back to them how we spent it. And the email is a personal email, it's not a city email. So basically, Mayor, what was happening is you are reporting back how the city has spent these federal funds.
I am?
You are.
No.
That's the personal email.
What email is it?
It's bucky@buheitmanassociates.com.
Not received, because there's no business from the city that goes to that address. Not
Well,
supposed to be.
this one did, and it was February of 2022.
Probably went into the junk mail then.
Well, the first one did because it went to bucky@ansassociates.com, so that was the mistyping.
Sure.
I don't know who did that. Was Mary, do you know? This was February of 2022.
I wasn't here then,
Okay.
so I have no idea.
So it could have either been the clerk or the zoning administrator.
Okay.
So when one of those two employees made the contact for who to contact for reporting on how these funds were being spent, they put in that email address. They put in your email address.
Okay,
And
sure.
incorrectly.
So what's the problem?
Well, the problem is, I don't think we have a lot of oversight if we have one member of this council reporting funds
Sure.
to the federal government and
Sure.
how they're spent, or to the state.
Sure.
So I think we need a little more oversight than that.
Okay.
And, I'm not sure we should have, the mayor be
any city staff.
Do we know how this was handled? Do we know how this report was done? Did you do the report, or is the report done?
I have done,
Yeah, she
that's
doesn't know
before my
anything.
time.
Ross knows how the dollars were spent, cause this is for the lift station pumps.
Yep. Yeah, I know where
So-
the dollars are going to.
Yep.
Under the requirements of that
Yep.
new program.
Yep.
Okay.
Sure, that's where we got the lift station pumps for.
So did you report that in? Did you fill out this report then, or?
No, Steve Heth was pretty much taking care of everything.
Yep.
So I don't know how his email got on it, so should have been TF zoning.
Correct.
And I think he was working with our former clerk on it.
Well, I talked to Stephanie McGuire today, and her last email in March was, thank you, we tried a couple times to deliver, but the email address came back undeliverable. I'll add this email address, and that is your corrected email address.
Sure.
So she continued to communicate with you about how these funds were spent,
Possibly, but it'd go to my junk mail, because.
and that's where it went. So,
Should have been.
so we don't know who filled this report out, or?
No, he just said Steve Heth filled it out.
Yeah, I think Steve Heth was dealing with that, but we can check with him. He'll be in tomorrow.
Yeah, that we,
He'll
I
know-
appreciate
he'll know
that.
The whole story.
Cause
And
the
then we
funds,
get a copy of the report, or
Sure.
was filled
yeah,
out.
he
Cause
can provide that.
I've even asked him about it, and, you know, cause I keep asking, where's our second payment?
Oh, that came, I can tell you when that came.
Mhm.
We got the first one on October 26th, the initial disbursement.
Mhm.
There was a supplemental disbursement on November 21, and then the second disbursement came in June 28th of 2022.
Excellent.
So that's when it got here.
Okay.
Okay.
So I guess, yes, I would certainly like to find out
Yep.
what that report
Yep.
was completed and where the money actually went.
Yep.
And I agree with you, Mayor, I don't think we should have one person,
Mhm.
certainly not using their personal email
That's
to
fine.
tell the federal government where our art dollars have been spent.
That's right. All right. Anything else on this?
That'd be all.
Excellent. No action on that. I think we've hit it all. So with that, we are now going to go to our roundtable for a little update on information. I'll start all the way down here to my left with the new grandmother. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's great
Thank
being a
you.
grandparent. So go ahead.
Because I'm rolling out of this position and new people are rolling in, I'm just gonna make a few observations, if I can get my power to work. And because we have listened a lot to open forum, I just wanna be able to get back to that. So, because I've done 12 years, I've had experience with these three wonderful council members. Excuse me. I'm absolutely proud to have worked alongside our mayor, Mayor Mike, and council members Russ and Larry. Every year I've held this position, the city has not raised taxes. I've accomplished nearly all the projects that I set out to. I have a couple items to finish up. I have served the city for the past 2 decades, first in the capacity of a volunteer, and then moving into the council membership role. I have committed my time, my energy wisely to effectively get things done. A big shout out to the wonderful citizens who have helped getting the city jobs done. It was a privilege and a pleasure to work with you these past 12 years. Thank you to those who will never have to apologize for helping raise a positive public perception of our community and our leaders. Thank you to those who supported us through the negative issues presented to all of us, councils and citizens, something that has never occurred within our wonderful city, ever. Many speaking up to the challenges faced by our city, I will forever be grateful to you. I'm terribly disappointed of those who start a lie and pass it along as truth, which only spins a tale of dishonesty and bad character, or those who believe these lies and perpetuate them, or those who distort the truth, or the adults who choose bullying to get their way. I'm equally disappointed with those who pretend to know about a subject that have no clue about it whatsoever, or those who felt themselves a subject matter expert on a particular issue, not only false, but tried to manipulate it to fit their needs, or those who cherry-picked words and sentences out of the Minnesota statutes to twist what they were trying to achieve. I have lost any level of respect of those who have done character assassinations and who have try to be the judge, the jury, and the executioner all in one. There's always two sides. I'm unimpressed by those who burn the midnight oil searching for anything to disrespect or dishonor our sitting council members. There have been smokescreens, but never once was our team dishonest to our citizens or to ourselves. Or those who use social media to discredit or complain about members in the city and their staff, further distorting the truth. I'm very disheartened with those who invited me out for coffee under the guise it was to chat about city processes, but instead tried soliciting my favor to speak out against an issue that they and their group found totally important. When I told them I could not do so, they accused me of being vague and not listening to the citizens. I let them know it was something I was not authorized to speak about legally. Their next complaint was a tirade of hateful words about staff, the council, the mayor, and I was also reminded about our friendship could be challenged. That's when I realized they were never my friends. Friends don't do this to other friends. I can never trust you again. Shame on those who suggest a term limit for city council. It's a local government and not politics. Unfortunately, those who complained about term limits never stepped up to the plate to offer any help to run our beautiful city. There were never I was never planning to run more than one session, and then there was nobody challenging or coming up, so I ran two. I never planned more than 2 sessions. Now I'm absolutely gleeful that there's people putting their hats in the ring. One thing worth mentioning, shame on the complainers, the liars, and anyone who is disingenuous of our city council without even offering up or suggesting a solution. The bottom line is if you don't stop telling the lies about us, I'm gonna start telling the truth about you. One thing worth mentioning though is I hope the new council will move forward with televising the council meetings. The posts on YouTube are not final or an authorized version of our council meetings. We have no idea if they've been modified to the content of the videos they post. Having a sanctioned version will help eliminate any flaws in the taping of these sessions, as well as provide an actual view of the public. Okay, and their inappropriate gestures. What I would ultimately like to see is our community voting in members who are capable of healing the divide that has occurred in the city the last year and a half. Get us back on course, continue to reduce the taxes, but ensure that requirements are met, ways to make our tax dollars go a long way to improving or repairing any infrastructure that needs attention. Siding with safety is always the preferred choice. I would also like to see the Economic Development Commission move forward in securing small businesses in our city. Watch dreams come true for a boutique, hotel, or a microbrewery. That one's still in the back lot. I would like to see the HPC expand their historic areas. The Angel Hill properties are very nice, but there are other historic properties in our city that need to be identified and appreciated as much. Angel Hill has been a tourist attraction for many visitors to come to the city, but it is as important to invest in time and effort to looking at other properties that could help lift the city's beauty. At the end of the day or at the end of the year, you need to look back and see what you've accomplished individually and collectively. If you didn't do as well as promised, regroup. Find a way and figure out how to do it. The City Council is a team of collective ideas and opinions who share in making the city a great place to live and work. There are different branches to that city that a council member works within. However, you need to stay in your own lane to get their tasks done for that branch and not get sidetracked by other lanes. This only distracts from their own promises and goals. Spending an exorbitant amount of time to find fault within the current city council has only caused negativity, and it destroys the credibility of these people who seek to tarnish the characters of a sitting council, when nothing was ever found to have been done wrong or illegal. It just ripped a big hole in the fabric, which we can't seem to get sewn back. I would encourage every newly elected council member to attend the League of Minnesota Cities training to help you better understand how local government works and how the budget is collected and spent. We have invested funds for the newly elected members' trainings. Not one person can do it alone or be a superhero. The findings of fact of this current city council proves over the years we have met our commitments, reduced taxes, expanded the residential and business districts. Please keep moving forward because the rearview mirror is no longer an option. Council meetings have become politically charged in the past 2 years, which is not appropriate. We are not politicians. We are administrators of our city. The political hat needs to be left at the door before entering the chambers. Please remember that.
Thank you, Mary. Been a challenging year, but we're getting through it.
We are.
Even though some of us don't want us here, still here. Larry, comments?
No.
Okay, thank you. I've only got two things. The first thing is I'm waiting still on some bids or proposals for a gate, if you want to call it that, for the tunnel downtown.
Yes.
We've been working on that since early this spring. I've actually found 2 vendors. I've had 5, but unfortunately 3 wanted it engineered before they built it. They said, give us the drawings, we'll build the gate. The other 2 have said, we can put something together for you. The last one just wanted to know if we wanted them to install it as well. And I said, I think that's a good idea, but once that information is ready, when it's ready, I'll make sure it's on the agenda so the council can look at it.
Perfect.
We need to secure that tunnel. We've had a lot of activity in that tunnel, a lot of graffiti in the tunnel. It's not safe to go in that tunnel unless you have an oxygen sniffing device because it's a storm water tunnel. And since it's a stormwater drain, it could be dangerous in there. And so Mike and Paul, they will check it periodically once or twice a year. They're careful when they go in there with proper equipment, but if we can get a gate there of something that's secured, but I had told the manufacturer we want a gate that can be opened because there's a possibility somebody may still get in there and we're gonna have to let them out. So once that's ready, it'll be on the agenda. The last thing is we have candidates running for office. I wish them all the best of luck. With that, Ross, anything new?
Just the planning commission, we still haven't scheduled another meeting yet. We will this month to go over the 4 items that were discussed before. So hopefully we can get through those and have some recommendations for the city council.
DHC recommendation, food trucks,
Yeah,
what's the
there's
other?
4
4 items that you're working on. And I think Steve is involved in assisting with that as well.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yeah, he was gonna do some research for us.
Got it. Okay. Anything else, Ross?
Nope, that'll do it.
Troy, anything new?
No, I just wanted to thank you again for allowing me to speak on that art issue.
Sure.
And you did mention the candidates, and I think it's important that they understand that there is not one council person who makes all the decisions. We work together and we discuss these issues in the open. That's all part of the transparency. That was my point in bringing it up, and I want to make sure that all the candidates understand that we can't do things that way because you lose trust. The public loses trust in you if you don't debate these issues and have the discussion here at the council meeting. When they just come up like that, then people start to wonder what's going on. And I want to thank Mary for her comments. I appreciate them very much, and I think it's important for all the members that are running to listen to what she has to say. I think the truth is extremely important. I think we should always be in pursuit of the truth. We can't slander other people. That goes against why we're here. We have to keep. I'm sorry. Are you okay, Mary?
Nobody said anything.
Okay. That goes against why we're here and what we're supposed to do, and that is represent all the people that that voted for us, and even the ones that didn't. So, I'm very encouraged that, Mary has set forth a path, that is less divisive, less negative, just overall, less divisive and less partisan. I completely agree that, we have to leave our partisanship at the door. This is a community issue. This isn't about right or left. This is about right and wrong. And I think we have to consistently pursue what is right, and, I would hope that all the candidates that are running, keep that in mind. That's what our goal is. That's why we're here. So, thank you.
Okay, with that, we've concluded all of our business. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
By Mary, do I have a second?
Second.
By Larry, those